You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the program. It is, what the hell day is this? It's Thursday. Sorry, I forgot. I'm used to us doing this on Tuesdays first, and we didn't do Tuesday show, so I was really thrown off. I was like, please, God, tell me it's not Tuesday. Then I remembered it's Thursday, so thank God it's Friday Eve. I have Jen with us tonight, and also we have broken the Amish from, where is it that Sam usually stashes you? It took us forever to find you.
Yeah, usually she'll hide me back in the barn on the Nation of Fubar, but I broke free. And I'm here. Hi.
Because, you know, I sent henchmen to go find you, and they were, like, texting me, like, where the hell is this guy? I'm like, I don't know. He's Amish. I don't know where they go when they're, you know, doing whatever it is that the Amish do when we don't hijack them and make them get on the internet. Isn't this, like, some sort of cardinal sin for you or something? Should you, like...
Not when you're opulent.
Oh, so that's what it is. Because you're the opulent Amish, you have access to the interwebs. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah. Hi, great. Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You know, you've only been bugging me about it for like a month, and every time I invite you, you're like, yeah, we'll do it next week. Oh, wait, no, I can't.
Well, it was the last one of the shows that you do that I hadn't done yet, and I've always wanted to do this one, too, because I've got a crush on Maria.
This is the one that he actually listens to. The rest of me could care less about those.
Oh my gosh. So for anyone that doesn't know, I got a little Maria nickname. I shared a text one time. I got a wrong text and they called me Maria and I put it on Twitter. And so from there it went.
And there it is. And I think I'm the only one who still remembers it other than you.
I know, but it's also how there are a couple people and it's you and like maybe one other person, I think. And then y'all have had to change accounts a couple times. And so it's how I know it's for sure you. Because they're like, oh, hey, Maria. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Know who you are.
That's him.
Verified.
Right. It's my blue check.
I'll give you the blue check. Yeah, you got the JR blue check.
Oh. So, no, I'm stoked to finally be doing the show. It is the last one. It is the one that I do listen to. I listen to Dan too sometimes, but this is my favorite one on the KLRN.
Oh, that is so nice of you to say.
Translation, Rick, you suck. I'm only here for Maria.
Well, Rick, you're our producer. I can't be nice to you all the time.
Wait,
on Wednesdays.
Wait, when are you nice to me? When does
on Wednesdays? I back your play against Sam when she's all screaming at you before we go on the show.
It's usually the other way around.
Well, there's that too. Get Discord working.
No, Discord sucks. I can't figure out what's causing the stupid echo, and it's annoying.
Well, so I'm sorry. I don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's because you're not trying to use a program that ties in like 14 million different parts of your computer. So I'm sure it's an overamp thing somewhere. I just can't track it down. I had the same problem with this stuff at first. I had to track down what was causing the overamp. I just can't find it over there. That, and I really haven't had time to mess with it because, you know, I've been on a real radio station for most of last week. So who the hell has time to do anything in between doing that, day job, all the stuff I do over here, plus editing video for Michael and the billion other things I have to do? I don't have time to play with Discord.
So we started this out with a nice little crap talking bang.
You're right.
I'd expect nothing less.
Well, you know, it's
the three
it's
of
what
us,
we do
so
all day anyway.
It's no different
I know.
than Twitter. I'm going to say, it's the three of us. It's no different than Twitter.
Yeah, I was going to say, for anyone that doesn't know, and obviously you do because you see us retweet each other all the time, like we already have a pretty built-in rapport, and we've been in groups together, and we tweet on, on open Twitter together and whatever. So this is kind of just an extension of that kind of ongoing dialogue. Yeah,
I wouldn't expect anything less from being on here. I'm so happy. And I'm not being yelled at by Sam, even though she's in chat now, so I probably will be.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said that just as she popped in, so you know you're about to get yelled at now.
Right. Oh, I can't swear on this show.
Yeah. Well, not exactly the way you and Sam do it, because we don't have any ties to charity or anything. But
yes, that's our excuse.
Technically, the sun is down, so you can kind of.
Oh. Okay. So, what do we got going on tonight? What's the plan? What are we doing? We just kibitzing?
Well, I mean, we could always talk about Space Force because that's what everybody else is talking about. What the hell?
I'm excited. I want it.
Look, I get it, from a logistical perspective. I know it probably has more to do with crap that China and Russia have had going on in space that we probably haven't known about for the last 8 years because Obama didn't pay attention to nothing. But at the same time, I spent way too much of my childhood watching shows like, I say childhood, but not really childhood, but shows like X-Files and Stargate. The show that eventually ended with the Air Force having this completely secret space armada, and now all of a sudden we have a vice president saying, hey, we're going to start a space force. So the funny thing is, everybody's, referring to it as like, the Air Force. But the funny thing is, before we actually started an Air Force, we had an actual Air Force.
Right.
So,
the Army Air Force.
So my thing with this is, are we putting the cart before the horse, or what the hell do they know that we don't? Because there's...
I think my attitude has been NASA has just stopped being NASA. They're not interested in putting, in breaking any boundaries or putting people in space or going to new, everything is just like, climate change. And now we're going to give, I think, what was the figure? They gave $800,000 to Muslim charities so that way they could feel good about inventing math. That's all NASA does anymore. They don't go into space. They don't do space things. So, Space Force, bring it on. I'm all for it.
Am I the only one disappointed, though, that they did not name it Star Blazers?
I loved that show. I absolutely loved that show. Yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to bring up sunken battleships and make them space-worthy.
Hey, it worked for them. It's good enough for me. Yeah. Although I have to admit, as I got older and I actually found the Japanese version of that show, Yamato was awesome compared to the Americanized version, Star Blazers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the drunk robot was the issue.
While we're on the topic, has anybody else seen Elon Musk as kind of like Andy Griffith when he was doing the Salvage One TV show? You remember that TV show where he built a spaceship out of his junkyard and then it was like rescuing satellites and doing space things, but he was just basically Andy Griffith in space?
Actually, I don't guess I ever saw that show.
Oh, it was a great show. Well, yeah, that's how I view Elon Musk now.
Well, except the difference is Elon Musk actually has money and his spaceships are cool.
Yeah. True. Putting a car into space was pretty cool.
You want to talk about opulence? Dude, put a Tesla. Dude, put a Tesla in space. I It reminds me of back in the day when I worked for DirecTV and they had that commercial that had the dude where like everything in his house was gold and his bathtub was gold and the water in his bathtub was gold and his house was gold, his TV was gold. That's as soon as Elon Musk is like, yeah, we're putting a Tesla in space, bitches. I'm like, I bet you his house is completely made of gold.
Epic Wins was his name, and he had that little mini giraffe too.
Well, all I got to say is I think about that, a bunch of us, various people, like grew up in different parts of the NASA lore, and how it was so cool. Oh, we're putting a man on the moon, and then it's like, then we got the space shuttle, and there's all sorts of things and exploration going on. And I think that NASA is totally cool, and it was growing up, and like you wanted to go see any of the launches or landings, and you wanted to, and we all watched on live TV as things went down, and you wanted to visit the space centers. And I actually have a close family friend who is now actually works in mission control. She is a total smarty pants badass, and I used to babysit her, and so all that's really cool. But I think it's really funny that and kind of awesome that my kid is going to grow up in a world where the United States of America doesn't just have something really scientific like NASA. We're going to have a space force,
right? No, I can't see it being a bad thing. And even all joking aside of the alien fighting aliens and all that, and that there's Space Guard, and what they do is they look for near-Earth crossing asteroids. And the amount of people doing that is smaller than an average shift at McDonald's. So the more people you have in space doing things and ships going around doing their things, like in The Expanse, you can go, hey, this might be a problem. Let's go latch onto that and just drag it a little bit. Or, I think it's a good protection force, too. I mean, just not from aliens, but from big rocks, and not the kind that Brianna Wu is worried about.
Have you seen The Expanse? There's weird stuff going on in that universe, yo.
I am so glad Amazon picked them up. That is a crime that Sci-Fi canceled them.
They canceled it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But Amazon's going to pick it up, so now there's another reason for everybody to have Prime.
Yeah, just get Prime, people.
I hadn't heard that they got canceled. I'm a little sad by that. See, I don't. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, but this brings up a point for me. What the hell is happening with Sci-Fi? Because they used to be like the vanguard of cool shows, and it was where you went to go watch good stuff, and now only the crap survives.
Yeah, I scream at Sci-Fi at the beginning of every new year where they announce their cancellations and pickups. I mean, they killed Dark Matter, which was made by the people who made Stargate, but they kept Killjoys on, which is just so terrible. And 10 seasons of Ghost Hunters, but they get rid of every well-liked, successful show that they have because reality TV is cheap.
Well, the thing about
since NBC Universal bought them, they've really gone to shit.
But the thing that drives me crazy is like Killjoys. I have to admit that's one of those shows that I don't really admit to people that I watch, but I do watch. But at least on that one, they're like, we understand this show sucks, so we're capping it. We're going to give them 2 years to finish the story. At least they should have done that for Dark Matter because it was just starting to get to the good part.
They just started telling the story. Everything up to that point was exposition in the first season and a half. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Anyway, Jen's like, oh my god, they're talking Sci-Fi. Get me out of here.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, you guys have fun. I'll just sip my wine.
Well, let's get into your lane for a minute, Jen.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to say a few things because I did attend the Resurgent Gathering this last weekend in Austin. I could not go. It was in my backyard. I had the weekend available, and I was also offered. By the way, it was killer content for the money. For people that had to travel, I know they also had to pay for maybe flights and hotel or gas or whatever, but it was seriously like $100 for this 3-day thing, and you got breakfast and lunch included, and you got to hear the likes of Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, Secretary Perry, and then also a lot of in between things. There was some Georgia senators, some Texas people that were running for Congress or senators. We had a couple like local influencers, and then also people from Facebook and other kind of like speakers that were dealing with, and it wasn't done in a typical conference format, right? They weren't just standing on the stage giving their prepared speech. It was done more like a panel or a round table. So they actually sat up on the stage with Eric Erickson, sometimes someone else, and they just talked and they had conversations, and sometimes you could tell there was a little bit of a spiel someone had prepared that they went about on. But it wasn't organized in that way to like give a speech. And they were really anti like the whole campaigning thing, even though the midterms were coming up. They really didn't want people to get up there and campaign. They wanted people to talk, and they wanted to be able to ask questions and to have an ongoing fluid conversation. And I think they really accomplished it. I was actually extremely impressed and surprised at Erickson's ability to host something like this. I thought he did an incredible job. I thought it was well put on. And I really enjoyed my time. I got to meet some people that I've had decent friendships with on Twitter, but I haven't actually ever gotten to meet in person. I got to talk to them. I got to meet some people that I don't really interact with on Twitter, but I know who they are and I know their status. I like Selena Zito spoke, and she was. I actually liked her a whole lot more than I thought I would. I kind of thought I knew her thing, and I'd read most of her stuff, and I liked a lot of it. I've always liked her, but I didn't expect to like her as much as I did in person. And she was really awesome. Unfortunately, Fiorina had to cancel. She had a flight canceled, and there was all sorts of issues with that, so I didn't get to hear her, which I was really excited about. But Abbott was incredible. He always is. Cruz was great. We had a protester stand up during him and yell and hold up a sign that said he was a Russian bootlicker and yell that we're all traitors and we're all complicit if we support him. And the whole thing was like repeal and replace Ted Cruz. And okay, that's clever. Haha, you're so funny. And he handled it really well. The whole conference handled it really well. They just escorted him out. There was no hoopla. He was like, okay, well, this is an example of how, so many on the left have become absolutely unhinged. Like, good for you. Great. You made your peace. Now you're getting escorted out. And as far as I know, they did not press charges or have him arrested, which they could have, and they didn't. It was just get him off the premises. There were some other protesters outside during Cruz and during Perry, but it was limited. And the hotel was really great about keeping them across the street and not on hotel property. That's their policy. So that kind of limited the drama of it all, but it was kind of entertaining anyways. But I just had the best time. I learned a lot. I thought that, it wasn't all brand new information or anything, but I learned a little bit about some of these people. Some of them I've heard speak before, or I've met them before, and some of them I haven't. And I just really enjoyed the entire thing. There was some stuff that kind of bored me and others, and I'm not going to name names, but we might have hit the bar. But other than that, we did have a good time, and we had a great time interacting, connecting, and our friend who used to be have a show that we all liked and loved, Stacy Lennox, that writes for The Resurgent. She had hooked me up with a couple of the Resurgent writers to meet and kind of be able to make a connection with, and I was able to do that. And so I really enjoyed it, and it being in my hometown and someplace where obviously I didn't have to pay an exorbitant amount for hotel fees and flight fees and everything. I was able to really enjoy it for a very low price, and it was really intimate, and it was really great, and I met a lot of awesome people, and I have quite a bit of hope moving forward for people that are wanting to still be a part of this conservative movement and not just the Trump movement, because I felt like there was an adequate amount of like Trump support there, of course, and we talked about his accomplishments and we talked about all the great things the administration is doing, but it wasn't solely pro-Trump and it wasn't solely anti-Trump. It was more of a conversation of actual conservatism and an honest conversation about the GOP also. So, I don't know. I was really encouraged. I really had a great time, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Was there any good discussions on what to do with libs you own? Because I've got so many, I don't know what to do with them. And I know Jesse was there, so I figure he would have some good tips on that.
So well, I can't disclose everything that Jesse and I talked about because it's not safe for radio, but I think that we realized very quickly that we are just as much, we realized that neither one of us is very different in a lot of ways than we are online, which is refreshing when you meet someone that like, you're what I expected. And because that often happens where, and there were some people that I met that like they portray a certain thing online, and it's not wrong or bad that they're not that way in real life. But I just mean, sometimes it's just easier to say things when you're behind that screen. We've all known this is part of why trolling takes such an effect. And I don't mean it in the bad way. Some of them are just like a little more reserved or a little bit shyer, not quite as like outgoing and funny as they appear to be on their Twitter account. And that's okay. And we still got along and it was fine. But Jesse and I realized pretty quickly that he and I are basically exactly who we thought each other were. So we got along really well. But I think they were talking about maybe doing an auction for these libs, and that there's probably an online market for it. So we'll work on that. Let's sell them off.
Because I've been trying to trade mine for Dogecoins, and I just well, one, nobody has Dogecoins anymore, and two, nobody wants to trade them for libs. So I got to find something to do with them. They're just piling up.
Yeah, I mean, and we did talk a little bit about, even Cruz talked a little bit about, how in a lot of ways, so much of what is kind of put on the movement, put on the right, is that it's all about now owning the libs and doing something just to own the libs. And I think that he also explained it kind of well, that there is a way to own the libs without only doing it to own the libs. So if you're only doing things and you're only saying things and you're only believing something or you're only following something in order to drink liberal tears, then that can be fun and all, but it's not exactly like going to be effective in any sort of way within the movement and within policy matters. But if you're able to progress yourself and move forward the movement or speak out on the movement, and it also happens to own a lot of libs and get their tears, then all power to you.
It seems now it's more defending the movement than moving it forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's my... I guess that's my shtick on Twitter now, is defending conservatism and libertarianism and doing it to own the libs rather than actually trying to progress anything. Because it's not that our ideas are new. It's the same ideals limited government, federalism, everything. You're not coming up with anything new. You're just trying to say, hey, this works better than,
right.
Putting us...
And I think what some of us, and what he was talking about when some of us at the conference talked about, was exactly what you said. It's not that it's anything new, but it's about new ways to combat and to educate and encourage what we've always believed and what we've always held. And in this ever changing and this new environment, and especially the political, freaking craziness we have going on, is new ways in which to voice it, new ways in which to present it, new ways in which we can reach people. And so it's not the message that should be changing. It should be how we approach things and how we then take what's happening right now and try to figure out a way to inject conservatism into it. And that's a hard thing to do.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing, while you were there with all that heady group, I've got one thing. What is the... I feel like I'm interviewing you. What was the overtone about social media and government's role in or hands off of, especially with everything that was going on in this last week?
Okay, so obviously everyone there is like, free speech, leave us alone, let us do our whole thing, whatever. But they did have a guy that is he is called the vice president of public policy of Facebook, who was on, and he is actually a former FCC. So, and Ajit Pai spoke and was awesome, by the way, which is not always my alley of things when we think about the administration and political realm, but I was very interested in him. I thought he did a great job. He does a wonderful job of explaining things in layman's terms without dumbing down and making you feel like he is condescending you. He has a really great way about talking about his avenue without kind of like being like, okay, idiots, here's how it goes. So I really enjoyed him speaking. But so this guy that was from Facebook, and I'm struggling for his name right now, so I just won't say it. He talked about how, it is true that they are trying to fight all these different things. They are struggling within the social media companies on what is good, what is going too far, what they should ban, what they should not, what they should limit, what they shouldn't. And that obviously, and he admitted, sure, there is often a more liberal bias because most of the people that are making these decisions lean more left. But he also pointed out that most of what they deal with, what he deals with as far as this title he has, Vice President of Public Policy, more of what he deals with on a daily basis is combating the drug sales on Facebook, the fake accounts, and not just like, Russian bots trying to influence elections, just legitimately fake accounts that are putting out info, trying to reach young girls, young boys, that are just there for nefarious reasons, and they put up these BS accounts with information behind them that is also BS, and having to take those down, they have to delete about 500,000 every quarter. And he goes, so while the left thinks that we are allowing for too much, Nazi alt-right content, and the right thinks that we are silencing them and allowing for too much liberal content, the content that I'm most worried about in my position and what I have to deal with on a regular basis is the things that are actually hurting children and the things that are actually hurting regular people. And it's not that none of those other things don't go on, but it really is more minuscule than what I think we perceive and what is portrayed politically. And, from my experience with various businesses and things that I've been a part of, I think that is more the case than not. But it doesn't mean that there is never a bias and never some sort of agenda by certain people that do have an effect on the overall business structure. So who knows?
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. And I think that would, I know that all social media agencies really do invest a lot of resources in combating those things. That's really the kind of message they need to get out. I would love for, Zuck or Jack or somebody to say, look, we understand you're feeling marginalized. We're sorry we hurt your feelings, but we have actual crime going on our service that we are trying to combat. So you're right. Little, I'm sorry you got swept up in an algorithm, and nobody is, more sensitive to that than me because I haven't lost 4 accounts. But if they were to just say, your problem is not a problem. We have human trafficking going on our website. Right. So we're trying to combat.
So your meme got deleted because it had something that hit on this sensitive algorithm that can also encompass these other things that are actually really bad.
Right.
Your post that was obviously mocking a politician about teen sex got swept up in what is not a person deciding, but an algorithm deciding that you are now promoting some sort of anti-teen consent thing. So yeah, I agree with you. And we all kind of challenged. There were several people that made some comments to him, and Eric challenged him pretty well about some of it. And I felt like he, less than a lot of the other people that appeared, didn't seem to have very much of a template he was going on. He seemed to really be having a conversation. And so, and especially since he has worked for the FCC and he has a pretty extensive and impressive background, I kind of feel like I need to take his word for it a little bit. And that doesn't, like he said, he still did say, that doesn't mean that there isn't some sort of bias and there aren't things that don't happen, because they do. But overall, it's less of an out to get you, I think, from either side than we all think.
And if that's true, great, but tell us that.
Right.
All right, folks, we're going to have to take a break. We'll be back with the Jen and Amish show. Stay tuned. Click, click, boom. I'm coming down on the stereo. Put me on the radio. Click, click, boom. I'm coming down with a new style. And you know it's both wild. Click, click, boom.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Folks, welcome back. This is Jen and Rick live on KLRNradio.com, where it was until about 40 minutes ago, and then the Amish invaded, and I haven't been able to get a word in edgewise since. But you know what? As much as I give them crap, I've done like 40 hours of work plus 20 million hours of radio over the last 10 days, so I really don't care. So we're going to let these two get back to talking about the Red State Convention or pretty much whatever else they want to. Because it's the first time Marty's been on the show, and, you know, the Lord knows he can barely get a word in edgewise when food's on.
Well, I've wanted to have him on the show for a long time, but, you know, it's just always not worked out. So this is awesome, and hopefully it will be more of a, you know, kind of regular thing.
Anytime you want me on. I mean, yeah, and I got to say, Rick kind of messed with my head because I knew you guys were on Tuesdays. And when I mentioned it last night, he's like, oh, no, we're on tomorrow night. I'm like, what the? My whole life is a lie. So, but anyway.
So, in other words, you ignore the tweets I put out like every other day about doing this show twice a week.
I am so far up in my own notifications, and that's the one thing I've noticed with having to create 4 accounts. There's a point where you watch your feed, and then there's a point where there's a threshold where you move into your notifications, and I'm at that point where I've got to get myself back out of my notifications and see what's going on in the greater world without somebody DMing it to me.
Absolutely. So. I am in the same position.
And I think that threshold is right at 1,000 when you follow 1,000 people, or when 1,000 people follow you. I think once you hit that 4-digit mark, that's when you live in your notifications.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And especially when you have like people that when you Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I've actually had to start putting together lists because otherwise I can't keep up.
Yeah, because I
as
think
much as
you
I
have
hated
people.
lists at first, they make sense now.
Well, and I think because you have people that like you so regularly interact with that if you put out a tweet and they put out a tweet, we all like get on it together because you just kind of. And by the way, there's some sort of algorithm which starts showing up certain people more often than others, and so that just kind of becomes a thing. And so you put out something and you've got like 5 or 6 people and they're people that you correspond with all the time and you become friends with. And so it's really easy to just engage in the back and forth with them, which is so fun and part of the good experience about Twitter in my experience. But it also can limit you a little bit because you can kind of get lost in that side of things and not go look at everything else and other followers that are worthy, other people that you follow that there's a reason why you follow them, and you miss their stuff because you just engage in the same little kind of thread all the time. And like I said, I'm not dogging that because I love it. It's so much fun. It's part of why I'm still here. But I have to kind of go, okay, now I need to go do this and go look at that. And then sometimes I seek out certain people. I go click on their, TL so that I can see what they've tweeted and who's interacted with them that might be someone that I want to interact with. So, it can kind of start to be a battle once you get to a certain point.
Yeah, I'm really getting ready to have my computer pop up a notification telling me to crawl out of my own ass and get on my timeline and set them in my notifications. It's kind of like how they have that thing when you've been gaming too long, that 2-hour warning when you've been playing a video game. I need that for Twitter. Okay, you've been in your notifications for 2 hours. Crawl out of your own ass. So, but that's me.
So
I know exactly what you mean.
I work at home most of the week, so it's like I'll be doing my job, and I'll have Twitter over on another monitor. And then it'll just be like, oh, okay, so that's going on over there. I'll just code this real quick. And, oh, okay, so now time to make fun of that politician because they said something dumb. So, which is always.
I wanted to say one more thing about the gathering that was cool for me because compared to a lot of those people that I found myself in the presence of, especially invited to that dinner, I was just really touched and really honored that so many of the people at the table, said something about, we're like, oh my gosh, Misfits. And then a couple people were like, oh, you have a podcast. Like, I've listened to it. It's good, whatever. And I felt like, oh my gosh, that is so cool because I've worked really hard with Rick. I've worked really hard with my Misfits. And for there to be some people of this caliber that I was sitting with at that dinner to know it at all, and then also to recognize it and then want to come up and talk to me about it and say something, I was floored. And it made me, feel so proud and so excited and so happy to be a part of these multiple avenues I've endeavored in and all of these people that I have worked hard with that have helped me, just put together so many great things from all the people at KLRN and all the people at Misfits and then all of our guest writers and all of the people that share our stuff. All the people that interact in Misfit Mischief, all the people that interact in Gift Challenge, like all the people that listen to all the shows on KLRN. And I talked a lot about how we're kind of a family and we all support each other and really, try to be there to share each other's shows and help everything. And I know it's not KLRN anymore, but I include, FUBAR and there's a couple others that are out there that I engage with regularly and listen to regularly that support me and I support them. And I felt such pride and I felt so humbled and just a real sense of community there and how I don't know, I'm just so proud of everyone. And I was so happy that it was recognized and was expressed to me in such a way that these people that I never expected to be actually talking to, much less have dinner and have drinks with, were telling me things that I never expected to hear. And so I just want to give a shout out to everyone at KLRN, everyone involved in Misfits, that it was freaking awesome. And it does not go unnoticed. people know, people listen, people read, they interact, they are watching, and they have taken notice, and I just could not be more proud.
Well, it's because Misfits is awesome. I mean, it's one of the things that really bums me out on Wednesday nights. I don't want to say bums me out because I love doing the show with Sam, but is that I only get to participate in like half of the gift challenge, and then I've got to get ready for the show, and I'm still keeping an eye on it on another monitor while doing the show. And no, Misfits is great. I have so much fun with you guys on Twitter, and I was a couple of weeks ago, I had a dream that Foo Nation joined with Misfit. And it was just, I woke up like, well, that was kind of weird. But anyway.
Oh my God, that would be epic.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh my gosh, it might break the internet.
The interweb would
No,
break.
but really, I just really could not believe, first of all, that some of these people even knew what it was, and that other people didn't know that, I was involved in KLRN at all, that other people knew. Like, I was just so floored. Because they're not always like saying stuff to you on Twitter, right? Some of these names are like big blue checks. So they're not like seeking me out, and I don't know them personally until I met them this last weekend. So, and some of them didn't know that I was behind a few of the things that I am. And so understandably, but, God, it was just so freaking cool how awesome everyone was. And then all of their compliments being, laid upon KLRN, this podcast in particular, and then Misfits. I was blown away.
Well, it's, and we get some great signal boost from our, it's like for Snickety, she does her Wednesday tweet with, coming up in an hour, here comes Misfit Gifts Challenge, and listen to G while you're doing that. And then you got Fubar, and, we've got really good people who help promote us too. And, they, nothing other than just love for us. And
100%. It is so amazing. Like, everyone that participates in all of our shows and all of the, mischief on Twitter, and I don't just mean Misfit mischief, I mean our actual mischief on Twitter. Right. It's so humbling. It's just so crazy. And they put out tweets and they say things, and they share with their followers, and they write us compliments sometimes, in email and to the website and whatever. And I'm sure KLRN gets a lot of this because I know they say it to me. So they're probably also like, emailing, Rick and the station head, Ann, and whoever else. Like, we just got a lot of people that are supporting so many of our efforts. And I think it's just so cool. We just created such a cool little like corner of things that I hope never goes away.
And it's all fun too. I mean, we've all got our detractors and trolls, but we're just here to have fun. I don't know why anybody follows me because but I'm on Twitter to entertain myself, and if I entertain other people while I'm doing it, great. But it's all of us are just kind of just having fun with the whole experience, because not everything is great in the world, but as long as we can make fun of it, we're not taking it too, we're not that concerned about it.
Well, yeah, and so many of us, and obviously we know Rick, like, right. This is not something we're getting paid to do. We're doing it because we want to do it. We love to do it. We're happy to share, and we want to interact as much as possible, and we want to engage people we, like you said, like, there are the negative sides, and we obviously have our very serious political sides, but we also have our really fun sides. And the fact that people are responding to it and engaging in it as much as they are is just, it's beyond me at this point.
Yeah. I'm amazed every day when I log in that I have a notification. It's like, really? Somebody read that?
And they even liked it. So along that same vein, though, I want to, because Jen, you and I haven't had much of a chance to talk about this, so I kind of want to share with you guys an experience that I had. It may not resonate as well with you guys as it did with me, but there is a gentleman who's been involved in broadcasting here in the Oklahoma City market for over 20 years. He's actually one of the ones that's been filling in on the station that they had me on the other day. Not because he's trying to get the gig, but because he's just one of the ones that they tap. Well, he was on with me because he was actually doing an interview for the nonprofit that he works with right now called Right on Crime. And one of the most amazing things to me was that, and I didn't ask him to do it, I didn't talk to him about it, but during the interview, when we were going to break, one of the first things he said, because he'd been talking to me this whole time, and I was telling him, don't have any formal training in this. This is all stuff that I've learned and stuff that I have several people that I do different shows with. So we bounce things off of each other. We work together to get better. So we were talking on and off the breaks and things like that. And then we were going out of the last segment that I was going to do with him for the show. And out of nowhere, he says, if the management of this station is listening, if you don't hire this guy, somebody else is going to.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
He's been in broadcasting
Dude,
for
and
20
if anybody
years.
I will say that last Thursday, I was on with Jess, and we spent the good front half of the show talking about Rick's latest endeavors and all the ass he's kicking. And he's had so many people listening in when they're not even in the area, via internet, listening in to these fill-ins he's been doing in Oklahoma City. And it the support is off the charts. People are loving it. They are so excited for it. And Rick, you've worked for this for so long, and you are so due the opportunity, and you are so due the accolades and support. So I just want to say that I am extremely proud of you, and also so proud to be your friend and get to tag along on this a little bit and hear about your newest adventure.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's exhausting just listening to him tell me what he's got going on in the week, much less, actually, I couldn't imagine doing that. And then to have some drunk on a tractor take out his internet, too, and...
I still blame you. I think you broke off.
That was not me. If it had been a horse plow, that would have been me. A tractor, that's halal. I can't do that. Or whatever the Amish version of halal is. That's verboten something. I don't know. But we do have Rumspringers, so you never know. Could have been one of my guests.
Rick, how are you feeling about it all?
Honestly, the hardest part is at this point the bosses haven't made a decision, but from what I understand, it's down to about 2 or 3 of us at this point. So I'm still in the running, but I don't know when the bosses are going to make a decision, and the waiting is killing me. The cool thing is, I actually, and for those of you who don't know, the coolest thing for me was having a producer for 3 days, because I'm usually the guy pushing the buttons on pretty much everything we do. Once in a while, I'll have somebody come on and produce, but this was completely different because I could just sit back, relax, and just... The first day was terrifying, I'm not going to lie. The ad roll started coming on, and I'm like, what the F am I doing here? I cannot effing do this. What the F was I thinking? This is all running through my head in 5.5 minutes worth of ad roll. And then the bumper came on, and I was nervous for about the first 45 seconds, and then it was off to the races. And then day 2 was amazing, because by then I had all the jitters out of the way, and I already knew who I was going to talk to, and I'd already actually talked to him, because the guy that I interviewed second day, which was Andrew Spino, was actually the handler from one of the people that I had on talking about our campaign the previous day. So we'd already I'm on a first-name basis with the guy, dude. We've exchanged numbers, and this is the guy that's been in broadcasting for 20 years. It's every chance I get, I'm going in there and telling them they need to hire you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm only scheduled for 2 days. So we end the second day, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm talking to Brad, who's the producer, who's actually become a really good friend. He's actually been helping me figure out how to use one of the broadcasting tools, which for those of you who don't know, here in a second, when we switch over to America Off the Rails, I'm actually going to be trying to test out a Facebook Live broadcast. I don't know if my mouse hamster wheel internet will be able to handle it, but we're going to try. But as far as that goes, so I'm in a room in the production booth talking to Brad. Mac walks in, who's the programming director, and says, hey, that guy that you were talking to in the last 5 minutes of the show today, that was your original podcast guy, right? And I said, yeah, that's the liberal I used to do the show with that I pitched to you as a possible show idea on maybe Thursdays or Fridays or something. He's like, can you get him in here for tomorrow? I was like, I don't know, but either way, I can be here for tomorrow. So I messaged Dave, and Dave's freaking out. He's like, they want me to come in the radio studio? I said, yes, they want us both in there. They want us to basically do a terrestrial version of Finding Common Ground so we can test it for the owners. And that's exactly what we did. We did that show for 3 hours. And the funny thing about that, Dave and I were having a conversation years ago when I first pitched the original idea for what became the Finding Common Ground show. And I told him at some point, somehow, some way, come hell or high water, we were going to be doing that show on a terrestrial radio station. And we just did it last week. May have only happened for one day. I don't know, depending on what they decide. Because if I get the gig, I'm bringing him back every Friday. I've already told him that. I said Fridays is going to be the day that we do that show. I don't think the station would. I don't think the listening audience would support it every single day. But Fridays are a bit more laid back. We can pretty much do whatever we want. So that's my plan. If I get this gig, Fridays is going to be Finding Common Ground Fridays. And the funny thing is, Dave, at the end of the show, when it was all over, he said, "You are one crazy, persistent son of a bitch," because I never thought this was going to happen.
That's awesome.
No, it's so great.
That's so great. It was funny, you were talking about the jitters. I had them every week doing the show with Foo until I did your show that has the terrestrial rebroadcast. Then we said, oh, by the way, this is just going to be listened to by 3 million people over the course of the weekend. After that, doing Foo Bar was no problem.
And see, that was kind of the thing for me, because that was when I finally got back in my own headspace. I was like, dude, I do weekends in larger markets than this. It's not the end of the world, but for some reason it felt completely different. And I think it was because I knew that there were people that were going to be interacting, because that was one of the things that, I mean, even people that like work for the station were like, dude, we've never had that many people calling at 6:30 in the morning. Because it was awesome. Like the phones were just like getting to the point where they were getting stacked up, especially second day. They were just blowing them up. First day we opened the phone lines at like 8:30, I think, and one of the Libertarian candidates had been talking about taxes, so we were just back-to-back stacked phone calls for the whole last half of the show, or last half hour of the show. And the boss texted me later that day. He's like, so I hear you had lots of phone calls. I said, yeah, which proves lots of people were listening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so anyway, it's been an interesting experience. Whatever happens, if nothing else, I got to live my dream for 3 days. Thanks to Brad Reed, the guy who made me sound like a rock star for 3 days, I've actually kind of figured out how to start working on next level and the stuff that we do over here. So either I'm going to keep doing this, or I'm going to do both, or it doesn't matter. Because, I mean, I started this stuff to make a difference. I'm either going to do that with terrestrial or without. So it doesn't matter to me.
Well, here's the deal, Rick. It was a chance you had to take, and there was nothing to lose. And you did what you do best, and you did it to your best ability. So whatever they decide, you can sleep well knowing that you went in there with everything you got. And so it doesn't matter what they decide. It doesn't matter what they do. You took the chance, you calculated the risks, and you went for it. And that is something to absolutely commend yourself for, and that all of us that are your friends and colleagues are incredibly supportive of you in, and are so happy for you.
Yeah,
completely.
The funny thing is, Jess actually came on and did Off the Rails with me on Monday night, which was the first show that I did since I've been back. I think it was Monday night. It was Tuesday night. She came on Tuesday night. But she started playing some of the audio, and the funny thing is there was this one line that I completely came up with off the top of my head that had everybody that was in the studio rolling, because it was the first day that I was on there. And I didn't expect the guy that was actually leaving as the producer, right after we did the open, he's like, so tell us about yourself. What do you do when you're not here? And I was like, well, I didn't really know if they'd want me to talk about this. So I started talking about everything and all the different shows that I do and what it is that we do over here. And then he said, so where all are the shows at? So I told him, where America Off the Rails, and that a lot of them are on iHeart, Spotify, things like that. He's like, so damn, you're pretty much everywhere. And before I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I'm the guy that's everywhere that nobody's heard of.
Right.
And everybody just busted up laughing. And I was like...
No, it was great. It was great. I heard that clip too because Jess played it for me. So I knew exactly what that was. And I thought it was awesome.
That's hilarious.
All right, so believe it or not, guys, we are down to about the last 45 seconds of the broadcast. So why don't you guys remind folks where it is that they can interact with you when you're not on here taking over the Jen and Rick show, Mr. Amish guy. Just playing. What's up?
My joke is that, I don't know what my screen name is this week, but it is at Orty Packard on Twitter, and you can find me every Wednesday with Politibunny on FooBar, One Nation Under Foo, and that's on Spreaker as well, and you're our producer there, so you know where to find us. And that's it. That's all. That's the only place I'm at right now.
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at J Homestead, and then Facebook JR Homestead, but I'm been really lacking on that, and I'm going to try to make it better and post on my page and post on Misfits Politics page a lot more. And then obviously misfitspolitics.com, and come join us tomorrow night for Misfit Mischief. It's a lot of fun, and we try to make it more of a politics free, and even if it has some politics, it's just making things in jest and mocking things and whatever, and we just try to have a lot of fun and kind of leave all the crap at the door, all the drama at the door, and just engage people in a way and let people meet people and have a good time. So please join us.
Misfit Politics kind of reminds me of the old Reese's peanut butter commercials back in the day. You've gotten your comedy into my politics. No, you've gotten your politics into my comedy. Anyway, so you can follow along with me at Radio Host Rick. You can shoot me an email at rick@klrmradio.com. At Radio Host Rick actually works on Twitter or Instagram. You can follow along with me on Facebook, Rick Robinson as well. Stay tuned. Here in just a second, we're going to change gears. I will be back with the America Off the Rail show, one we usually do here every Monday through Thursday night. For those of you that are curious to see whether it flies or dies, we're about to actually try a Facebook live stream in about a minute or so. So we'll see whether or not it works. Thanks, Orty, for hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back in a minute. Thanks, Jen. It's great to get the reconnect. It seems like it's been forever since we've done the show because I had to take all last week off from it, and then we had all kinds of stuff going on Tuesday. Because honestly, I was on call for KOKC till like 9:30, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it or not. And then you were like, I'm out with family anyway, and I'm like, cool. I have homework to do just in case they call me. So.
It all worked out. It all worked out like it should. I was on family lake vacay, which was amazing. So, you had your crap to do, and sometimes that's what goes down.
Yeah, I know. I saw the pictures of Ben skiing for first time on
my
first try.
My 5-year-old skied. He came up on the first try and skied for about 5 minutes. Now, they're the trainer skis where they're tied together and he's holding the rope connected to the ski, but still, y'all, my kiddo came up and skied for about 5 minutes, went over waves, all this stuff, 2 laps around. He was amazing. It was so much fun. It thrilled my parents beyond belief, and my grandparents, who we were raised on the lake. We all skied, slalomed, tubed, all the things, and we had a blast. It was awesome.
Well, I'm going to tell.
I saw that pic. So rad.
I'm going to tell the audience the same thing I told you in DM. It doesn't surprise me since I'm pretty sure Ben's parents are from Krypton. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
All right.
Take care.